The stock is down by 2.5%, but I just want to go over this again. Fauci just making some comments a few moments ago, Meg. I'm not sure if you've even seen it, but he says that the AstraZeneca data likely was good, but the press release was not quite accurate. And that's a big deal considering the trouble that this company got in back in November with some of the other data that they'd been talking about, the press release they put out, just the earlier efficacy.
Yeah, it's been an unfortunate situation around the communications for this vaccine. And of course, now it's gone through all of these issues in Europe, where there are safety concerns, where it was paused for a bit over concerns about blood clots. And then the European regulator cleared it for use. The communication around these vaccines is so tenuous and important because we're in a pandemic situation and these are our way out of it, and people need to feel comfortable with these vaccines. So this is not a good situation for the company to be in. The fact that Dr. Fauci is saying that the vaccine data are likely still very good, but the press release is not quite accurate, it makes you wonder, what did they say in the press release that wasn't right? And we just don't know that right now. I was on a media call yesterday with AstraZeneca where they indicated they had more events, severe events, meaning cases in the trial than they'd included in the interim update. But that was the implication was that essentially it just made the findings stronger of the 100% efficacy against severe disease. So we just don't know what the outdated information was.
If it was safety after the blood clot, what happened with actually suspending some of the vaccines, that would be a much bigger deal, obviously, as you have pointed out, Meg, and at this point it doesn't look like that. But then with the efficacy, we're already below 80, right? We had 95 on the Moderna, and even the J&J with the second shot was up in the 90s, wasn't it? So this is 2 shots below 80. So I don't know if it goes, I don't know what they're saying, whether the actual efficacy data would mean the 79 was too optimistic. As you said, Fauci said it's still good. But, that would be an issue, too, if it gets too far much lower than where it is compared on a relative basis to the other vaccines.
My understanding of reading this, and I've never seen a statement like this before from the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases or from any real body in a situation like this. Of course, we're in a pandemic situation, and everyone is paying a lot more attention to these trials and the communications around them. But I've never seen a body feel they needed to make a statement like this about statements that a company was making. And so it must have been serious enough for them to feel they needed to put this out publicly instead of communicating directly with the company. So I've reached out to AstraZeneca, of course, and waiting to hear back from them in terms of what kind of statement they have about this. And I hope that because the NIAID is publicly urging them to work with their oversight board on the trial and disclosing the full results or the updated results, that we'll hear more from them soon on what this is.
Meg, yesterday we had Dr. Scott Gottlieb on, the former head of the FDA, to react to the news about the AstraZeneca data. He pointed out that he'd like to see the actual data himself because of some of the past discrepancies with the company. But I think this is a really unfortunate situation, given some of the concerns people have about vaccines, if the company has not been completely clear on this. Obviously, we want to hear more about what's happened. But Gottlieb pointed out yesterday, Dr. Gottlieb pointed out that this is more of a commercialization issue, potentially, than just a public health issue. Because when you have vaccines here in the United States that are so effective, it means that people at some point, probably by May, he thinks, will be able to shop around a little bit for which vaccine they get. Now, obviously, the rest of the world is relying on additional vaccines coming out. AstraZeneca has sold a lot in Europe and in other places that they've promised to deliver. But he thinks, at least when it comes to the United States, you could be looking at a commercialization question where people actually say, which one do I want to get at that point?
Yeah, the timing for AstraZeneca is such that they likely wouldn't be getting on the market until early May. And by that point, we'll be entering the point when we're supposed to have enough vaccines for all American adults by the end of May. And so it would be a difficult time for any vaccine to gain a foothold. But globally, it is still very much a public health situation. This is the vaccine that is supposed to, really protect the world. They're planning to make 3 billion doses. They're doing this at a nonprofit price. It's storable in the refrigerator. it was very important to Oxford that this be a globally accessible vaccine. And it is being rolled out in many lower and middle income countries, and in some places is their only access to a vaccine. And so concerns about these disclosures, it just adds to sort of the fuzzy picture around the vaccine. And it's unfortunate because it seems, again, like it's a communication problem. It doesn't necessarily, although we don't know exactly what the issue was, it doesn't necessarily seem like a major problem with the vaccine.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.